Oh, are we going? We are going.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is where you're watching, whenever you're watching. This is the Sonata Chronicles, vlog episode 23.
23.
20 magical 3.
Yes.
And we have...
There's a conspiracy theory about 23.
There is, the number 23.
666. It's all
amazing.
Stupid.
We've got the wonderful
It's
Bill
pretty
Brown
stupid.
with us here, and myself, Charles Collier. And we missed last week due to the destruction of diseases.
Yes.
We're still working on that, but it's okay.
We're feeling a lot better.
We are. We're no longer bleeding from our faces.
Well, he was bleeding from his face.
I was. It was pretty epic.
I was just hacking up microorganisms.
Yeah. So
and
we're
snotting them.
So beautiful. So we're back. Been better than ever. And we're going to talk a little bit today. I think we'll start off with a little conceptualizing like what the base element of the Sonata Chronicles is, because it's still in its base element. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's way too early. I mean, right now Mike's been doing some great conceptual work, but we're looking at evolving. You know, we start here and then it's moving from here to the finished look, the finished product. So we're not there yet. So don't, you know, when you look at our work, don't judge it based on where it's at now. Look at it and see kind of what we're playing with, because that's the idea. If you're in an artistic profession of some kind, whether it's film or it's painting, or you do it because you love it. And if you can't find the joy in it, you can't find the play in it, the whimsy, you know, and really just have fun trying to figure out how to make all that enjoyment and all that magic translate to an audience, or translate to the viewer in some way, or for games, the player, then you're not only short-selling your audience because they're going to be separate from it, but you're short-selling yourself. You really need to make sure that whatever you're doing, you're sharing it and it's translating well. So, right now we've had some great stuff, but I'm hoping that we can, get some more artists interested as well, so that we can have more work getting done, more stuff to show you on a more regular basis. And, Mike will still direct that, but more more ideas and more voices in the pool, so that we can get that. We can start figuring out that one consistent voice of the Sonata Chronicles. It's not necessarily just my voice or Mike's voice, but it's its own voice that people can hear and people can understand. Right. Well, your voice included.
That's right. So, like with any artistic project, it has to grow, and it's never really an individual, or it doesn't really have an identity until it is truly finished and presented. So it's still very much in the works, and we're still growing it, and it's still beautiful, and it's going to continue to evolve and change as we get more input and change things on it. So different artistic styles and different artistic ideas, and maybe even different conceptual ideas as far as props go and whatnot, depending on how we look at things. So as we grow, the project will also grow.
Exactly. I mean, it's a lot about, especially for film. Film is a collaborative medium. More than one person has to work on it by its very nature. So, especially when you're working on a film, it's a lot about getting a lot of people together to birth some new voice, some new discussion, some new idea. And that's really where we're at right now. So, so we, and I don't know, it's sounding very defensive, but we didn't mean to make it defensive, but that's just how creative projects go. Early on, it's about figuring it out. How do I best translate that to an audience? And then later, then it's translate. It's the process of actually translating, of actually making it communicable.
Yeah. Telling the story in the best way possible, and hashing out that idea that that is the story, and then how to tell it. And with visual means, you also have to think in more than just verbal tellings or written tellings. You have to think in visual and auditory and all kinds of things like that. So,
well, and especially in film is the visual medium. stage is the vocal medium. It's everything kind of gets hashed out through dialogue. And you know, novels are the emotional, or you know, written medium. You get a lot of people think this, they feel that, they they whatever. Film is a visual medium. We tell the story by showing things. We show how a person reacts to something. We show what a person is looking at. We show how they hold it, how they react, how they interact with it, how they interact with each other. It's much more about, you know, Clint Eastwood's movies are much more about the Clint Eastwood sneer than they are about, you know, go ahead punk, make my day.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't work if you didn't see the seriousness on his face, the body language, him dominating over the other guy, the low camera angle, the lighting. It's all about that kind of work. So right now we're in that phase where we're figuring out what lighting would suit us best, what situations would create the best, you know, what situations, what setups would create the best way to tell a story.
And that's going to be our 5 minutes. So
It's a little more than 5 minutes.
It's definitely more than 5 minutes. But so next week we're going to talk about filming all 3 episodes, all 3 films during the same shoot, basically. So kind of like they're doing with The Hobbit, and what they did with Lord of the Rings and everything. And we're going to talk about the positives and negatives of doing that, and why we feel that either we will do it or we won't do it in that sense. So that'll be next week. We were going to talk about this week, but we kind of got a little over.
Yeah, we got into talking. We hope you enjoyed it, though.
Yeah, we do. So, but we'll see them next
week.
And make sure that if you do have questions, even if it's relating to the 3 movies, feel free to hit us up on Facebook, the Sonata Chronicles page. You can hit us up on the Twitter at Chronicles Sonata, and then also the YouTube channel, which you're watching it now on, or on other mediums. So feel free to message either one of us with that through any of those sources, and ask your questions, like our page, force other people like our page, or don't force them.
Shares.
Just share it.
Share as much as you can. We would really appreciate it. Okay?
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you very much.